Today we're going to be talking about this high point. This is a high point 40 Smith & Wesson carbine. There's no magazine in the mag well, and there's no rounds in the chamber, and the chamber is locked open, so we know this is a safe weapon. So a couple things. I don't know exactly what did or didn't come stock on this weapon. I bought this used. I believe some of these things are upgrades. Some of them are really basic stuff. So first, it's got a built-in Picatinny rail on top. I don't know if these two sides are stock. I kind of don't think they are, but I don't know that. So you could put some lights and some accessories up there. As we go, I'm gonna go on your side, point towards you, from front to back. So we'll start here. This is the barrel. It's a very short barrel, and so in the state of California, this is counted as a handgun, and it does shoot a handgun round, but it is a carbine, like a rifle. So this is not a flash suppressor. It's just a muzzle brake. That's a big deal in California. You can't have flash suppressors or sound suppressors. And it's held on by this little Allen stock here, so you can kind of see that. It's got iron sights on it. The front post is pretty high up, and so it does give you pretty good lineup. It is adjustable. Not a lot of adjustment, but there is some adjustment up and down here. Right and left here, there's some marks here if you wanted to change by the marks. Both are circles, so you can line up the circles and the line. So it's kind of it's actually a pretty good sight picture. Coming back on your side again, we have a laser here on the laser pointer here on the thing. It's got a pressure plate there. It's got some rock shocks here that you can pull back rather easily, or fold forward a bit rather easy. It also has a foregrip here. There is, you can kind of tell, there is a Picatinny rail, so all this stuff can be taken off or put on rather easily. I've had the opportunity to use this on a bench. It works fine. I don't use it very often. Usually I have it up, and I end up not using this, and I end up finding myself like this, holding onto the gun. So I've thought quite often about taking off everything that's right here. I don't really have a good reason for it. It doesn't have hardly any kick, any recoil. First off, it's a pretty heavy rifled gun, shooting a small handgun round out of it. So that's got a lot to do with it. Let's see, keep going back. This is a takeout. It's one of the takedown pins. There's one here, one here. But in order to take this down, and we're going to come and do that here next in a few seconds here. But you take these pins out. We've got the trigger and trigger guard here, and we've got a pistol grip. Also, this is the mag well. So here's in the pistol grip is actually the magazine well. That's where the magazine goes. We got a pretty good buttstock coming across here. There is a place to hang a sling. I haven't put a sling yet on this gun, but this is the attachment point there at the back of the buttstock. This buttstock is kind of unique in that it actually is part of the recoil suppression. It's got some springs back there, and I truly don't know how well it works because there's not a lot of recoil on this. Okay, so that's everything on on the right hand side. So we'll switch over here to the left hand side. Not a lot going on here. As we come back, this is the bolt and the bolt release, and then this is the safety selector. Red is fire, covered is safe. And I'm going to bring this back and lock it back. Oh, because I have it in. So that was why I had it like that. I forgot. You can't, this is kind of a, I don't know. You can't put the gun into safe while the bolt is locked back. Okay. I have upgraded this trigger, and I have updated the couple other things here. But the trigger was the biggest upgrade. I can't say enough about these guys. I think I have a sticker here. Oh, I do. When they sent the trigger, I got this cool sticker. So it's M Carbo. There's other things they have on their website. Yeah, I would suggest going and looking them up if you have one of these high point carbines. It's model 4095. So made in it says it's made in Mansfield, Ohio. But you know, it's truly it's a pretty good gun. A couple of things I don't like. I didn't find this out for a while. This is California, and there is a spot here. If you put the magazine in, this if you live anywhere but California, this is where the magazine release is. For us, there's a bullet button, and it's very small and kind of tough to use, but this tool works for that perfectly. And it just goes into the end of the foregrip here. So in truth, I've left this foregrip on only because of that, and then I figured, well, if I'm going to leave that on, might as well leave these on here as well. And then it kind of gives me a spot if I want to shoot and hold it. It kind of gives me a spot to use the laser there. So I don't know. Okay. I don't know what else to say about this. This does use 40 Smith & Wesson, which is actually a good middle ground between the 45 and the 9mm, Parabellum and ACP. Actually, after the Great War, World War II, the military was using the 45 ACP, and the police decided the 45 ACP was a little too powerful and wanted a smaller round. They looked at the 9s at the time. 9mm, everything was using either lead or ball ammo, which is a full metal jacket. Definitely, if you're in the military, full metal jacket is a great round. But for law enforcement, they don't want the round to go through and maybe injure somebody else, and so, you know, they wanted something stronger than 9, but not as strong as that 45. They went to the 40. Smith & Wesson jumped and got that to him before the 10mm, which is the same round but with a more oomph, a little bit longer case. All right. We'll get into the teardown now. Okay, so to tear this gun down, it is actually kind of complicated, not super bad, but just sort of complicated. A lot of it can be done with this same tool. So I could use a screwdriver here, but this is a little bit easier. Just grab a hold of this. The back of it is a little grabber. Okay, and you can kind of just work this guy out. I see that, and then it becomes stubborn. So you take that top part off. So the next thing I do is take this bottom part out, and that's easier with a hammer here. Just take this is not a so I don't know, maybe I should care, but this is not a particularly handsome gun, so I don't much care about getting the pen here scratched a little bit. I should have gone and got my dead blow hammer, and oh well. These takedown pins out. These pins are actually interchangeable for one thing, but also they're spring locked in there. So let's give it a tap for good luck. Oh, it didn't work. Well, I got it out of there. What should happen is this should just pop right off of there. Oh, there it goes. All right. And all of this nice pretty rubber and plastic pieces can go to the side. So you don't have to take off anything off your rails or nothing like that. And then this can slide right up. So another thing you have to do that I didn't do is pull the firing bolt out. This bolt is just a screw, but again, this little tool comes in kind of handy. You can use a socket or whatever. Okay, so this is another little piece of, it's actually metal, but it's just like a little cover. So now we're actually into the gun itself. Okay, and you can see it's pretty basic stuff. So if I wanted to clean this gun, you can actually slide this back and remove it by, there's a pin right here. I don't know if you can, maybe you can see that. So what you have to do is just push this back. And what I've done in the past is use a punch, but it's not moving. There it goes. Kind of think I did this last time by hand. This time it's being stubborn. There it goes. Okay. So So we're free floating that, you see that, right? And you can pull this back, and there's a spot where that pin comes free. Okay, so this is your buffer spring. This is your buffer weight. In actuality, it should be. This actually shouldn't jump off of there very easily, but okay. And how this cycles is actually so if we wanted to now, we can get to the barrel. We can clean the entire part of the barrel. We could get to the trigger assembly right here and clean all it. This is the feed ramp here. We can clean all that. And I don't know, we can clean the bolt here. Inside here is actually the bolt. And you can see where that pin is, that capture pin. Put it together, you just bring that up there and come across here. You got to make sure your capture pin here is open, and then you want to, oops, I didn't get it far enough. You want to push that through, and that's it. And let's give it a tap. Okay. You can see the little roll pin there, that where that should be stopped at. Okay, so for good luck, sometimes I will cycle this. Okay, works fine. Then what you want to do is you bring this back up. This is like a little stopper washer here. So now that's locked in place. Now all you have to do to rebuild it is you want to put this back on here. Let's actually put this into here. Ooh. So this gun is difficult to clean. You can kind of see what you have to do to take it apart. Probably don't have to take it apart too often. So back in here, there's a little spot you want to slide that into. Okay, and that's all of that part. Now to bring this in, there's a little tab right here. Just push that in and pop that guy back in there. There we go. Okay, so this goes, you can see right here, these are actually interchangeable. They're exactly identical. So unlike like an AR where you have to have a front and back pin, these are the same. And kind of turn it over so you can see this is the capture portion there. So what you do is you push that pin in, and see here's where the pin goes. You can do this by hand, and then once it's there, you can see that it sticks out. And what you want to do is just push that up there. Let's see, where's this? And there it is. That's what's keeping that in there. Do that again for the bottom. So you push out with your thumb. You kind of see me doing that. See, it's got a spring. And you just push out with your thumb. Sometimes I can get it with my hand. I did. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Now, I don't think installation or removal is about the same, if you ask me. It's just kind of you got to get used to this particular system. It is a little more difficult than like a AR platform to take apart and put together, but you can tell. I mean, it's not killer. And then let's see, this part goes back here and slides in. ways. Okay, and then it uses that pickaninny rail to lock in on. That's it. We've now pulled it apart. Next thing, last thing we have is our bolt. And so, oops, I'm on the wrong side of the darn thing. So what it does, it just screws in there. You can screw most of it in by hand. Once you get to a certain spot, switch over to this guy, and that's it. I have seen other people that Loctite this. I've never had a problem with it. So now our breech is locked open, and the gun's back together. So we can. So the way this works is when you come down here, it's basically a knob here, and you just push it down. To undo it, you pull it up. You do that again. See if I can do it from your side so you can see it. Okay, and then, like I said, to undo it, you just bring it up. Okay, we know that the gun is unloaded. Let's make sure that it does fire. We're going to point it in a safe direction, and boom. And boom. Okay. All right. If we were to clean this gun, we would kind of run brush down with some solvent and maybe lubricate up the mechanisms here. Since we cleaned it last, I think we put 50 rounds to it. It's not ready for another cleaning yet. I've not had this gun lock up on me, so it actually is a very good shooting gun. And had you asked me before I purchased this gun if I would recommend this for anybody, I would have said no. But now that I've shot it, I would say go buy yourself a high point. One of the things that I think was added, I think this laser was added, bipods. I think these rock bipods were added, and I think this cheek pad was added, and it's actually a really good addition. So you find yourself pulling in on this, and man, that's perfect. Cheek feels good and tight against that foam. I don't know that they purchased anything from anybody. It looks to me like it's just 3M foam tape, so I could be wrong. One of the things I always do is put this tool back in the foregrip, and that way I don't lose it, because that's the only way to change a magazine out. So this is what the magazine looks like. It is single stacked. I think it's a 10 round, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 round ammo, or 10 round magazine. It's labeled as the number 40 on it, and high point. It's got a little rubber bottom so that it sticks out a little bit. You can see it's unloaded. Our breech is currently open. I'm going to put the magazine in. Okay. Now, because this is a California weapon, there is no way to pull that sucker out unless you use something to push this button here. Okay. In California's eyes, at one point, that made the gun safer because you could only shoot the 10 rounds, and then you would have to use, so you couldn't easily press it and change it out. So some people started using small pieces of metal with a tip on it, so even magnetic ones. California then went and banned that. They started calling it a bullet button because on the AR platform it's a larger opening, and you could use a tip of your 223 or 556 to depress the button. In the last 2 years, our California governor and mayor and our state representatives are complete idiots, and decided that this button, the bullet button, meant that the bullets went faster. I think they actually said that with the bullet button, you could create a fully automatic weapon. Now understand that same legislation, a different year, created the need for this bullet button, and the ignorant folks decided, hey, this bullet button makes a gun more dangerous. So I believe, even though this is grandfathered in, I believe I can take this bullet button out, but I have to make it a featureless gun, and I think that means, and again I'm guessing here, adding a fin so that my hand no longer can go across here. It can only go like this, and some ignorant politician decided that was somehow less dangerous. I don't know. But regardless, so to load this is a single stack magazine. So to load this, you just push down and push it back. I believe, and I don't know this for sure, that High Point does not sell this in a double stack magazine, but that they do sell a longer magazine for this gun. But I've not looked for it. Again, the state of California believes that 10 rounds is the magic number for what is or isn't dangerous. I don't know who comes up with this crap. Not I, said the fly. I do have a thumb saver for this. Let me go get. So this is called a thumb saver, or also a speed loader. It's pink. We were actually going to paint the gun pink. I purchased this gun for my wife. Less than $100 for the gun, and with the magazine and all the cool accoutrements. Again, I don't know, truly don't know, or looked up what is or isn't stock. But my wife is actually pretty sick, and I think she hasn't even had the opportunity to shoot this gun before she got to where she couldn't lift it. So we're kind of bummed about that, but so we didn't paint it pink yet. We were gonna do a hydro dip or something. So how this works is you put this over. So these are metal tabs here that hold the bullet. You can kind of see that. So when you push it in, you're pushing down and then rubbing your thumb, and you can kind of see my thumb is probably a little bit funny looking there. Rub your thumb against the side of the magazine. Using a speed loader, you push down like that, and you push this all the way back like that, and then you bring this up, push it back the rest of the way. Oh, I just trying to show it to you. I kind of messed up there. And then you do it again for the next one, and the next one. And in doing that, I call it a speed loader because it's a little bit quicker, but I've heard it called a thumb saver because you're not rubbing your thumb against the metal there. After a while, it does could rub up your thumb and hurt it or whatever. And that's all there is to it. So again, we're gonna go out to the range. We're gonna have some fun with this, and so if anybody has any questions, ask below. I'll put in the comment section again, because I pulled this out. I'll put in the comment section again the place where I got the trigger and buffer spring / buffer tube upgrade. The spring immediately made a difference. The trigger spring. The pull on it originally was like a 9-pound pull. I don't have a machine. Some people do have a calibrated trigger machine to tell you what the poundage is on it. But I can tell you it felt like about a 10-pound pull. It's a rough pull anyways. It's not the greatest triggers. But you know, the gun cost me only $100. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money on it. And this M-Carbo company had a trigger spring that was relatively inexpensive. I think for $20 I got the buffer spring, the buffer tube, and the spring. You'd have to look on their webpage. I could be misspeaking there, but so I thought, heck, for 20 bucks. I mean, I paid $100 for the gun. I'm not going to get a good trigger job for $20 and whatever. Well, I got the trigger spring. I put it in. First thing I found out was the buffer tube, not the spring. The spring looked fine, was just fine. The tube itself was made out of plastic, and it was cracked. Was it cracked at the manufacturer? Was it cracked when my buddy sold it to me? I don't know. It could be cracked under the couple of 100 rounds I put through it. I don't know. And so whatever. But it was cracked. Would it have lasted? It seemed fine. It probably would have lasted another 20 years, and who knows. But definitely the stainless steel one is a much better component, and it's not going to crack. So I was pretty happy that once I pulled it apart that was the case. So then when I changed the spring, that 8 or 9 pound pull turned into like a 3 pound pull, and you can kind of see. I mean, let's you can kind of see. I'm gonna just that is just a whole different thing. Now you can see the grit. It's not the greatest trigger anyways, but then just changing that spring made a huge difference. So I was pretty excited. Now, does that make it a better shooting gun? Not at all. It's a huge, heavy beast. This only shooting a 40 Smith & Wesson, and I don't know how you can miss with this gun. This is very accurate, very good shooting gun. Even before putting that trigger upgrade in, I would recommend all my friends to get it. It's a heck of a good time. You can I've shot it at the Gong, shot 100 rounds at the Gong, just having a good time. So yeah, I don't know. Any questions about this guy, just let me know.